I'm here in San Diego, and welcome back to Global TV Talk Show. Our very special guests today are from Poland. Wow, this is great. And Ken Summers is in Southern Connecticut in the U.S. And Ken, welcome. I'm going to let you do the intros.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ed. It's always great to join you. And it's a genuine pleasure today to introduce two friends and colleagues from Poland, both of whom I've worked with and know pretty darn well. Basia Zając is the head of human resources for the technology group of Aptitude Software. And I'll talk a little bit more about Aptitude in a moment. And Kasia is the global recruitment manager for Aptitude. I have to tell you just a little bit about each of them. Both of them, like me, the three of us share an IBM heritage, which is kind of neat. We worked together at AXA XL in Poland, in the city of Wrocław, which is a great college town. If you haven't been to Wrocław, you should definitely go sometime. And they are just delightful colleagues. Some of the best people I've worked with in a 40+ year career. So it's a genuine pleasure to welcome them to the show. I promised to say a little bit about Aptitude. I'm not going to do a big commercial, but for those of you who are not familiar with Aptitude, it's a software solutions developer that focuses on making the complexity of financial management beautiful, as the tagline goes. Aptitude is headquartered in London, but the company also operates centers in Boston, here in the States, of course, and Wrocław, Poland, which is in the far eastern part of Poland, not too far from the German border. So that's Aptitude in a nutshell, and Basia and Kasia in a little bit more than a nutshell. So I guess, we have a limited amount of time, so I guess I should just get right into it, Ed?
Well, time is unlimited, but
okay.
the audience isn't. So we have to keep that in mind. So do you have any Ukraine refugees in your town?
Yes, we do. A lot. In Poland, up to 2 million. And in Wrocław itself, I think 1/3 of that.
Wow, that's interesting. Okay, well, I'd like to get into that because we have a reporter who's in a small town in Western Ukraine, and we'll get to that later. So I've been on the Aptitude site and looked at it, and so your company takes the complex and makes it easier for customers. Basia?
Yeah, that's true, absolutely. So this is a global technology kind of driven company because we are producing software. And what we are speaking about is that our product is supposed to deliver complex solution. It is not always very easy, very simple. But this is complex, and because of that, it is very efficient. We usually approach financial directors, CFOs of the companies who are using our software. So by default, this is quite a sophisticated solution, and this is what is behind what you have read at.
Ken?
Enough. So, for the audience's awareness, there are three main topics for our discussion today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Poland talent market. I don't think it's a big surprise to realize that more and more multinationals have discovered Eastern Europe and Poland in particular. I imagine that just in the last several years, Basia and Kasia have seen quite a number of foreign multinationals set up organizations in Poland, and specifically in Wrocław, because it is such a great university town, lots of talent. So we're going to talk a little bit about the talent market in Poland, in Wrocław in particular. We're going to talk a little bit about managing globally from Poland. Both of these people have global roles with Aptitude. Wrocław is Aptitude's largest single location. The bulk of its employees are based in Poland, leveraging the talent in the marketplace, the software developers. And then in conclusion, we'll get to some comments from the folks about how they perceive the future of work in this post-COVID, rapidly evolving world. So that's our agenda for today.
Well, Ken, before you get into
Yeah.
that, I see that your tagline here is Maverick. So are you a Top Gun in your job?
No, I'm sorry, I should have changed that. So, Aptitude is a software company. In my consulting practice, I make a lot of use of a product from a company called Predictive Index. And one of the core products that Predictive Index markets is a behavioral assessment that helps to build stronger, more effective teams. And there are a bunch of profiles that are identified from the behavioral assessment. My profile is that of a maverick, and basically a maverick is someone who doesn't like to follow the rules, likes to do their own thing. And I'm grossly oversimplifying it because there are pages of analysis for each profile, but I am a maverick.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. And I'm sure this is gripping our audience.
I can tell. From here, I can tell.
I can feel the electricity. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, Kasia, what skills are hot and what's not?
Oh, Ed, I feel that we are just discussing this topic all over again, especially nowadays. And I will start broader, not only about Wrocław, but a bit broader. I'm trying to read as many reports as I can to be in the swim. And recently I checked Future of Jobs by Global Economic Forum, and it's clearly stated there that the most needed skills are those connected with soft skills, or even I like call them power skills, those cognitive skills. And when you're checking the first 10 of them, only one of them is connected with technology itself, and it's being technology, it's technological literacy, as far as I remember. So of course, it's important to follow the technology and follow the trends and be able to learn technology itself. But it occurred that probably it's more important to be ready from this soft perspective to learn more. And the most important skill, this is analytical thinking. And just after that, there is creative thinking. So it's like, wow, I think that it's amazing start for this discussion. And of course, I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on that? Do you observe the same?
Ken?
Oh, I'm happy to comment. Kasia, I think you're spot on. I think, soft skills, also referred to as emotional intelligence skills, are becoming more and more important. They've always been important, but I think that there's a recognition now. It was important before, but I think COVID has taught companies all over the world the importance of making the workplace, whether it's in the office or hybrid or remote, but making that work experience one that is psychologically safe, so people can feel they can contribute even if they disagree with something, and supportive, because we've all been through hell the last couple of years, and we're still trying to figure out what does it mean for the long term. So I think you're spot on. The cognitive capabilities largely can be taught, but the emotional intelligence, the soft skills, that's to a large extent innate. We can coach people, we can guide them to be better at the soft skills, but I think a lot of it is just who you are.
Yeah.
Ken, is that more of a female thing?
I don't think so. I'd like to think I'm emotionally intelligent, but I'll defer to the ladies. They've worked with me, so they can comment. But No, I don't think it's a female thing at all. I think that men probably have a little bit harder time acknowledging the importance of the soft skills, but it's by no means exclusive to women, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if I may add, I don't think so that it's about men or women. Maybe it's more connected with the way we were educated. That it was always like that. That man is not able to cry, is not able to be emotional, and I think that nowadays it just simply changed, and I think that we can really benefit from that. I think that it occurred that emotional intelligence is available the same for men, women, for everyone. Yeah, so I believe that it's a matter of education.
Hard to argue with the truth.
Yeah. So, Ken, you wrote that the changes in the tech sector are prevalent. So why don't you take that?
Sure. So, as we've already established, Basia and Kasia work in a technology company, but maybe both of you could offer your thoughts or your observations about what you're seeing in the marketplace in terms of the prevalence and growth of technology companies setting up shop in Poland.
Basia?
So thanks, Ed. I think that even to the point of yours, Ken, from the beginning, that we have gone through the kind of the hell over the last couple of years from the perspective of the COVID and everything. I think that the technology sector in Poland actually has grown within that period. And as well, we do not see it stopping even now. Based on every information which is reaching out to us, actually more than 80% of the companies in Poland in global technology sector or technology sector, they are planning to continue growing and continue hiring. So actually what we can see, maybe we can see some more structured approach of the employees to what employment contract they would choose, through which method they would want to be hired to secure themselves because of the situation. But we do see still the sector growing. Yeah, and happy to hand over to Kasia, as she's really recruiting in our company.
Yeah, thank you, Basia. For sure, I do agree this sector is growing. And I have one, let's say, fun fact. When I was going through reports, I saw in one of them this information. It's based on Google searches, that if you would like to finish this sentence, how to become, I don't know, writer, developer, influencer. So this report was presenting the ending for different locations. So simply speaking, it occurred that in Poland, the most popular ending of this sentence was how to become a software engineer, higher than influencer, higher than YouTuber, higher than writer. So I think that it just simply speaks to itself. But when it comes to the talent, I think that yes, indeed, we have talent in Poland, and we can just simply use it. So we have more than 20 tech universities. When it comes to students, it's around 70,000 IT students just right now, and more than, it's even the best number, more than 400,000 developers that are available on the market. So for sure, this is good timing for all those companies who are coming to us and trying to hire talent.
And Ed, excuse me 1 second. Basia made a reference to the type of employment, and I'm going to ask both of you if you could just elaborate a little bit, because a lot of your audience won't know that there are different kinds of employment available in Poland. So maybe you could just give us a big picture on that.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. And Kasia, please jump in if I'm missing anything. But I think high level for our audience, it will be worth mentioning that we're gonna be having employment contracts on one hand, where this is typical regular employment, and on the other hand, we're gonna have the contractual employment, kind of the business to business employment. And what is possible in Poland, both are possible. When the market was really growing, even before COVID, contractual employment in IT sector was very popular because it is less impacted by the taxes and social security, social insurance. However, during the COVID, while we can still observe both in the market, we do see that employees want to make sure they are secured. And I think even recently we have had 3 rehires in aptitude in Poland, where employees have gone out to the market to work as contractors, and then they came back to us for the typical working contract because of the atmosphere here, because how we are as a company, and as well because of the job security. So yeah.
Sounds like it's a booming economy.
Yeah,
that's really good. So there's a lot of multinationals with I wouldn't call it back office, but tech and where work gets done in Poland.
You have many multinational tech companies, and the international financial institutions are well represented in Poland as well. So it's the economy is, well, last time I was there, the economy was doing great. Sounds like it's recovered pretty well from COVID, but no, Poland in general is a happening place.
Yeah, and being a NATO ally and strong and pro-American, it's a blessing, as I see it.
We have good friends in Poland, both politically and personally. So
right,
we don't always agree with the politics, but that's a whole subject for another day, I think.
Well, I remember when Pope John Paul came from that area. Yes. And brought a great personality for a number of years, and that was inspirational for me. I'll tell you that. And my background isn't Catholic, but I really like that guy, and I especially like the fact that he was an avid skier, downhill skier, when he was younger. Anyway, that's it. So Ken, this is your thing here. So
it's all good. So I think we've established that the labor market in Poland is active, that there's a burgeoning technology sector, and there's lots of tech talent and a lot of tech talent in development in the universities. If I remember correctly, Wrocław, which is where both of our guests are located, it's about 400,000 people, roughly. Do I remember that correctly?
I think it's much more.
Is it more than that now?
Yeah, it's even more than that. I think it's 600,000 in Wrocław itself. But if you look at the agglomeration, it's much more. I think more than 1 million. And
there's a couple 100,000 students in the various universities, right? So yes. It is really a college town.
So tell me, I'm not familiar with the area. Is it all linked with the transportation, trains everywhere? So yeah, you get to the capital, you can get to the other big cities.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So from that perspective, yes, we are prepared, and we are let's say, able to communicate quickly from the main cities within Poland. So for sure. Yeah, and even when I think Basia, both you and me, we were part of discussions for choosing different locations in our previous companies. We were always discussing how quickly you can get to different cities, or for example to different countries as well. So things like airports were checked as well. So from that perspective, yes, we are good settled.
And
So
I think,
yes, go ahead.
Just to add to that, I think it goes even farther, because we have airport in Wrocław, and we are now in the discussion of potentially changing office for Aptitude, the place where we're gonna meet and mainly probably socialize and work. And it is important how far is it from the airport, and how quick you can get it get there from the airport. So yeah, I think it's quite advanced.
Yeah. And so right next door is Ukraine, of course, and that tragedy. But Poland, I would think, would be the marshalling area, the gathering place for aid to rebuild Ukraine, being right next door. And I would think that all this talent that you mentioned, then the students and the tech, all of it's going to be needed, never mind to be an employment base for others coming in. So I would think that's a really good investment, Poland. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Now, one of the other things that I wanted us to touch on, so maybe I'll transition to that here, is that, you know, as multinationals started to enter the Poland marketplace, and again, both tech and financial, the common model was that you'd set up a shop, and the local Poland operation would be managed from London, from the US, sometimes from India. But things are starting to change, and increasingly, and I believe Basia and Kasia are really in the forefront of this, but we're starting to see the beginning of global roles being based in Poland, both for geographic reasons and economic reasons. But Basia, maybe you could give us a little bit of insight on how it's different managing from Poland instead of being managed from somewhere else.
Sure. I think I would start from how I started my professional career, because I think it really corresponds a bit, this story, with how we are positioned today as a location to maybe have some global roles in Poland. And I think, you know, I started in HR 16 years ago, and that was a moment where foreign companies were starting to invest here in Poland. And we have really gone through the years of interactions and collaboration with different cultures, thanks to the fact that many businesses and many organizations, they decided to place their business in Poland. So I worked almost with all European nations during these years of my experience. I worked with US, I worked with India, I worked with people from Australia. And I think that's not me, that's a majority of people at my age in business working with such a diversified group. And I think at one point in time, it's starting to help us to really maybe be on the other side of the structure, but for sure around the table. The table where decisions are being taken, and where we can really lead out of here. And we have at Aptitude many examples of such roles, like Kasia's role, like my role, but as well the leader of global technology for Aptitude, managing majority of the headcount of this company is based in Poland and working with us out of Wrocław.
Ken?
Yeah, Basia or Kasia, either one of you, would you share some insights on some of the challenges you've faced managing globally from Eastern Europe?
Yeah, I mean, I can start, and Kasia, please help me with your perspective. I think that this is rather about collaboration than management, because we have been managed through years by different locations and leaders from different locations. I think, at least myself, I really know what works best, and this is for sure partnership and collaboration versus really management out of somewhere. And I know we're going to come to this probably, Ken, when speaking about the future of work as well, but I think that making sure that we are having teams working collaboratively and making sure that we are taking the best out of each location is going to help us. And this is my kind of pattern to overcome challenges. And the other thing, I know not very popular in COVID, but I do believe in personal connect. So I always try to do everything to at least once per a year, number of months, make sure that we meet in person with the team, wherever it is based, because it is really helping a lot to build relationships. And it's all coming back to the power skills with which Kasia really actually started.
So Basia, is there a trick, a method that works that you'd like to share about managing, I wouldn't say managing, coaching, leading, talent remotely?
Yes, I think what is the most important is to make sure that you are able to create with your teams relationships which are allowing them bring all themselves to the workplace, to the in front of the camera, making sure that this is kind of the holistic place they work from at home, not only the desk where they spend 8 hours. I think it works best for me, and I think for our teams as well. I don't know if you want to add anything, Kasia.
So I think that yeah, I definitely agree to what you mentioned, and probably even now when we are just after doing some researches through our employees, because we are almost announcing our new values and our new EVP to them. So we did a lot of researches, and this is what our people value the most: the possibility to be themselves, just simply speaking, to bring their entire self to work. And definitely this is a key for success, and everyone value this.
EVP means employee value proposition.
Exactly.
Give me an example of, there's a lot of words, but what does that mean?
Okay, so this is, simply speaking, this is something that we promise our people what they can expect when, first to candidates, when they join us, what they can expect, and how we will treat them, what they can find here. So first, of course, we started from values and culture, and we made sure that this is what we would like to have. And soon we will introduce our values. And then we were digging into details. Okay, so what does it mean for employees? How they should feel treated on each and every step of employee life cycle. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Ken.
It was a great answer by Kasia. And in fact, I've got a comment, and I hope that people who are watching this video realize that leading people, running a business, even though the labor laws are different in Poland and there are cultural considerations as there are in any other country, managing people, leading people is leading people. It doesn't matter whether you're in Poland or the United States or South Africa or London. The fundamentals of leading people and having a good emotional intelligence, having a proper employee value proposition, treating people like human beings is important no matter where you are. So thank you, Kasia, for that, because it gave me a little soapbox to add that.
So we talked about leadership skills, meaning being EQ. Is that right, Ken?
Yep, EQ or emotional intelligence. Yep.
Now, is it different? Like your background is varied, insurance and other things. Is it different? Is the EQ going to be different across industries?
Oh, I think it is. I think it is. I think I don't want to generalize financial services, but certain parts of financial services, investment banks come to mind. And I did spend some time in an investment bank. Investment banks are a tough culture, very tough culture. Software companies can be a tough culture. If I can draw a distinction, and I don't want to take too much of Kasia and Basia's time, but software companies, in my experience, and I haven't worked at Aptitude, tend to be fairly structured because, programming is a structured process. So the structure tends to carry over into the policies and practices. And my experience in investment banks is that you have a lot of regulation, but it can be a bit of a wild place where strong personalities can dominate very significantly. And you have to have really thick skin to be successful and survive in an investment bank. So yeah, very different across industries, but the fundamentals of treating people as humans, valuing them, allowing them to bring their whole selves to work, to borrow Kasia's phrase, is increasingly important. I don't care what industry you're in.
Okay. Basia, artificial intelligence, is this creeping up on your schedule, or is it going to impact you a certain way, or is it too far away right now to think about that?
We are sure that it's going to impact us in this business for sure. And we had an interesting conversation recently with our director of architecture, where he was really referring to the fact that it will probably quickly be able to replace some of the very basic profiles in programming and very junior profiles, while it will be quite difficult to replace quickly much more senior employees like principals in this business, where the contextual thinking is much more important and really connecting dots, it's even more important. So that's from the perspective of the programming. On the other hand, we were discussing, and that was at the board level even, how important it is becoming. This is almost the premium service to have the possibility to speak with the human on the other side of the line. We are today discussing if our professional services or support functions should be automated to the large extent, or maybe this is actually what in a couple of years will be super valued, to have a human connection, and this is going to be premium, not the artificial intelligence and the boot on the other side. So while I think, and I am a strong believer that we can still make sure as a world even, and as people responsible for how far it's going to go, to make the best use of that, instead of maybe have it expanded in some uncontrolled way, like maybe social media did sometimes to some extent. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Well, thank you very much. We have about 10 minutes remaining. We could end it now if you prefer, but Ken?
Well, just before we do end, because have to acknowledge that it's close to 6 p.m. in Poland right now, and I want to let these ladies go and enjoy their evening. But I did say that we would touch on the future of work from the Polish perspective. And let me start with Kasia. Kasia, what are your thoughts about how work itself is evolving, and what are you seeing in aptitude in Poland in general?
Yeah, and probably the last question and last Basia's answer, it was the great beginning to this question. And when I'm checking reports, it's clearly stated that 85% of jobs that will exist in 2030 haven't been invented yet. So we have only 7 years to invent those jobs and somehow adapt to this change. And coming back to our first question and discussion about skills, I believe that it's really important to keep proper mindset and approach to work and life, and be ready not only to upskill, but to reskill, to somehow react on this, what is happening on job market. So what I'm expecting is that, of course, AI will take some of our jobs, but we are still able to decide how we can adapt to it and how we can recreate those jobs that are currently existing. And even referring to one person from LinkedIn, there is one developer, and he's kind of personality. He is posting on regular basis, mostly things dedicated to HR people, just to educate them, just to train them and share some reflection. He did something like a summary of messages that he got last year with different job opportunities, and he as well evaluated them. He wrote which were relevant and which were really to the point, really interesting, and he would love to join them, and which messages were written by AI or were just simply pasted. So of course, those messages that he got from real recruiter and he started real discussions with them, he valued the most. And now I've started a longer topic probably and longer discussion, but wanted to add one more thing, because he shared one enormous number. He posted it, I think, at the end of last year or the beginning of this year, that monthly he was getting 80 messages on average with new job opportunities. It was like totally crazy. So just adding this information here, that last year our job market was, just simply speaking, crazy.
So in the US, you've heard that there's a reshuffling going on.
Yeah.
The tech companies are Google, for instance, and Facebook, Meta. They're slimming down, and all those people, they're not worried because there's so many other companies that want that tech talent now. Yeah. So it's happening in Poland too, right?
Yes, it's happening in Poland. We can observe it, but for sure this year is a bit slower. But what does it mean for us? It means that people, they are not sitting on bench. When they are employed, they have real work to do. That people, maybe they are not getting as many messages from US with dollars and UK with British pounds. So probably that's it. And one thing that I would like to add here is that probably this is the first time since I don't even know when, IT people, they are applying to job postings. So it means that I'm posting a job and after a few days I'm getting really qualified applications. I don't mean that I'm getting like thousands of them, but at least few really qualified people are more open to start discussions on LinkedIn. And probably this is time for us when we can really discuss with people and start building relations, because I'm treating this time, this slower time, as, let's say, pause. I would like to take a deep breath and really prepare ourselves for the future, because for sure future would be difficult for us, challenging. So trying to prepare our system, processes, our team, start building relations with external world, and then just simply use it.
Ken, you wrote to me about location independence. What does that mean?
So in the context of the future of work, one of the questions that I wanted to ask our guests was, do you think that everyone's going to go back to the office? Do you think remote is here to stay? Do you think hybrid will be the new model? What's your experience in your market?
Maybe I can start with the fact that in Poland, at least where we are today, is that remote is going to stay. And what is more, we have an experience in the market that if some companies kind of are forcing people to come back to the office, they are losing talent. So it's not possible any longer to define not flexible working schedule for the talent, because this is now how the future of work is going to look like. And I believe this is going to be the office is going to be probably the socializing place rather than the place where we're going to sit out of our desks and working like in front of the computer. And this is how we are now designing our aptitude office. We have 250 people in Poland. We are aiming to have an office for 30 to 40 maximum, with a social space, and as well located in the city center to make sure that there is a infrastructure around. So that's it. And as well, I believe that this is maybe more for the future of work, not related that much only to the office, but probably in 2030, 40, we're going to have a couple of jobs or couple of places for which we're going to do some contractual work versus just having the one regular working contract. This is slowly starting to be seen, and I can see you Ken nodding, so probably this is as well your experience and observation.
I think so. I mean, frequently it's referred to as the gig economy, where people, well, take me. I work for multiple clients. The days of working for one company for me are over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So.
definitely.
Thank you very much for being on Global TV. This has been educational for me, and I think for the audience behind up there. And I thank you, Ken, for organizing this. Nice to meet you, ladies, Basia and Kasia. I love this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of the summer, and look forward to our next time to chat.
Please come back on Global TV. We have a lot of programs on a lot of topics. One thing we didn't get into here, we're just out of time, but maybe food for thought for a follow-up broadcast in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Recognition. In the US, recognition of employees creates more feedback, Ken, right?
Yep.
Or engagement. And that maybe swells, grows togetherness. And Kasia, that's what you were talking about. I'm sorry, Basia, you were talking about the social aspects. In other words, not really a party atmosphere, but certainly a networking thing where people can come into the central core, the office, and have a glass of wine or a coffee or a Coke or whatever.
Vodka.
Vodka, yeah, that's it. Oh, right, Poland, that's right. Yeah, that's good. I love vodka, but not during the day, though. God.
Yeah, we don't drink vodka in the office, just to make
No,
sure
I know,
everybody
I know.
is aware.
Yeah, anyway, that's the idea of sharing, right? Networking.
Yeah, it was definitely about networking, what I was mentioning, and building relations with your teams.
Yeah, Ken, thanks very much for doing this.
Thank you all. Bye for now.
Okay,
Thank you.
signing
Thank
off.
you.
And let me know if you're coming to San Diego. Ciao.
Bye-bye.